In our previous video, we downloaded the Anaconda package and we installed it. We saw how we can use the Python directly from the terminal as well. However, when you want to create a program or a complex script, you need to have an IDE so that you can run all these commands at once. You can do it on any text editor as well. We have GEdit here. So you can just start typing like this: plotlib.py plot as plt. I will be just using the same example that I did in the last video. Example. Okay, we can save it as test.py, and now if we execute this, you can see that it is doing the same thing that we were doing in the Python shell in the previous video. However, using gedit is not a very good way to write scripts, since you need to, in most of the real-time scenarios, you need to debug the code, you need to check for other things, and to write such complex code on the fly is really very difficult. So what we can do is we can install an IDE, an integrated development environment for Python. The one I prefer to use, if you have been keeping up with my videos, primarily Spyder IDE. So what we will be doing in this video is we will be installing Spyder to the base environment, and then we will be moving on with a little bit of complex script. So let's open up our terminal. Let's launch the Anaconda Navigator. Now, Anaconda Navigator is a graphical user interface to everything that you can do on the terminal in the Anaconda environment: installing the packages, upgrading, making environments, etc. Instead of using the command line, you can use the Anaconda Navigator. It is quite easier as well, and it is very intuitive as well. Okay, as we can see here, we have pre-installed Jupyter Lab. This is the environment that we are currently in, the base. We have Jupyter Lab installed, we have Jupyter Notebook installed, we have PyCharm installed, we have Spyder installed, and we have Qt console installed. We also have VS Code. These two are from my other users, since they are being installed system wide. So let's launch the Spyder. And here we can also see the full form of Spyder: Scientific Python Development Environment. Okay, so we have our first look at the new Spyder. This is the editor tab, where we will be dealing with the files. These are some other tabs: help tab, the variable explorer. Once you will be writing the files, all the variables you can see from here. These are the plots. If you will make the plots, obviously, then they can appear here. These are the files, the file explorer on this side. Let's open this up, and now if we run this, to run this you can use this button or press F5. Let's run. Okay, so as I said, the variable explorer, we have the variable x here. We can open this up, and these are the plots. You can also close this these tabs from here if you don't want any of these, or maybe want some of these and not all of these. This is the console. This is same as the terminal, but it is a little bit advanced since it is integrated with the editor as well. I can use the same commands that I have used here. If I do this here, it has also made a plot. Whatever you can do on the Python terminal that we saw in the last video, you can do in this console as well. If I change this a little bit, okay, now we have this from 0 to 10. And as you saw that in the console, I do not have to use the plt.show command. It is for the terminal. We can also define some functions here. And now if we do this, we can do x squared equals to 2 square 5. It will store its variable in x2. And now if we go to the variable explorer, we can see that we have the x2 with the value of 25. This is one of the many IDEs in Python. The other one we saw was Jupyter Lab. We will now touch it a little bit as well. So let's close this. Let's launch the Jupyter Lab. Okay, now it is giving me some options. I can create a Python 3 notebook. I can open a Python 3 console, a terminal, text file, Python file, or whatever. If I open this, it's just open as a file. I can write whatever I want to do here. Cube. And now I can save it. Fine. But the main use of Python Lab is in the notebooks. The notebooks provide a great feature that we can use not only code, but we can also use the markdown language and the raw inputs as well. If I change this to markdown, and now I can even save this file as it is, and I can pass it on to someone else with the instructions as well. Instead of writing the comments in codes, I can write the instructions here as well. For example, okay, let's define our do square function. Okay, so now we have stored the do square function in the Python, but we have also provided the detailed description or at least description of what the do square is doing. Do square function will output the square of a given variable x. So this is pretty intuitive to understand. Let me remove this here. And if I will be writing it raw, then it will not store it as a Python code, and it will also not format it using the markdown language. It will just let it be here as it is. And since we have defined the function prior, we can again do the same thing, do square, and we can print the value in the same cell as well. So this is the functionality of Jupyter Notebook within Jupyter Lab, which is very handful if you are making a detailed documentation of some small part of your code, or you are providing information about your code, what it is doing or what you are doing. Jupyter Lab is a very handy tool for that. Similar to the Spyder IDE, what we can do is we can import libraries, and we can plot, and we can do all the calculations here. An advantage to using the Jupyter Notebook is that you do not specifically have to specify all the imports on the top. However, as a general convention, it should be it should be that you specify all the imports at the very top. So for now, for these two examples, we can just go with it. So let's initialize our x and let's plot this. So we can see it is plotting now x squared since we gave it the x squared value. So this was a short rundown of Spyder IDE and Jupyter Notebook. How you can use Jupyter Notebook with the Markdown language, with the raw text, with the Python functionality, the plotting in it, and all those things as well. Let's close this. In the next video, we will discuss about the environments. We will create a separate environment and we will see how we can install the softwares for that environment and how we can use them further. Thank you so much.